Hello, dear friends, and welcome to a soft, quiet evening where the world slows down and history hums gently in the background. Tonight, we'll drift through the simple, forgotten moments of the past where villagers shared bread, philosophers sipped wine, and stars twinkled over ancient rivers. Find your coziest blanket, dim the lights. Maybe let a fan hum softly in the corner. Take a slow, deep breath and feel your worries slip away as we wander together into the calm, timeless flow of history. If you like this gentle journey, please tap the like button, perhaps subscribe, and share in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. It's always nice to know we're connected across miles and hours under the same quiet sky. Imagine a medieval village, its fields glowing under a fading sun, the soft cluck of chickens in the distance, or a warm, lamplit room in ancient Greece where voices murmur and wine glows in clay cups. These are stories of ordinary days, told slowly, to carry you gently towards sleep. So close your eyes, listen to the whispers of the past, and let's begin. A medieval peasant wedding, asterisk now. Let's drift to a quiet village in medieval Europe where the air smells of warm hay, and a wedding is about to unfold, soft and simple under the twilight sky. The sun dips low, painting the fields with a golden glow, and the faint cluck of chickens echoes in the distance. The village is small, just a cluster of thatched roofs nestled between rolling hills, where barley sways gently and the world feels still. Tonight there's a hum of excitement, soft and unhurried, as the villagers gather for a wedding, a moment of joy shared under the stars, where life feels just a little lighter. Picture the scene, a churchyard, not grand or stone-walled, but a simple patch of earth beside an old wooden church, its beams weathered by years of rain and sun. Under a sprawling oak tree, its branches whispering in the evening breeze, the villagers are arriving, their footsteps soft on the grass. There's Alina, the miller's daughter, her cheeks flushed with a shy smile, and Jacob, the blacksmith's apprentice, standing tall but fidgeting with his patched tunic. This is their day, simple and true, and the whole village has come to share it, because that's just how things are. No invitations, no wax-sealed scrolls, just whispers that spread like ripples on a pond. From the well where women draw water, to the baker kneading dough, to the shepherd watching his flock. Everyone knows Alina and Jacob are getting married. The news travels softly, carried on the breeze. A woman at the well murmurs to her neighbor, "Did you hear? Alina's wearing her mother's old dress." The baker tells the miller, who nods and passes it on to the midwife, who tells everyone she meets, whether they ask or not. By dusk, even the sheep seem to know something's afoot, their gentle bleating blending with the hum of the village. There's no guest list, no formal plan. If you can walk to the churchyard, you're welcome. And so they come, old men in wool cloaks, children with muddy knees, women carrying baskets of bread or a jug of ale, and maybe a hen or two, clucking nervously as a wedding gift. The air smells of earth, hay, and the faint, warm scent of stew simmering nearby, promising a feast to come. The churchyard is alive, but not loud. It's a soft kind of chaos, with voices murmuring, laughter bubbling up like a stream, and the occasional bark of a dog chasing a stray crumb. The ground is uneven, a mix of grass and mud, still damp from yesterday's rain. A few wildflowers poke through the earth, their petals catching the last light of day. There's no altar, no polished pews, just a cleared space where the priest stands, his robe swaying gently as he prepares to speak. The oak tree looms above, its leaves rustling softly, as if blessing the gathering. Somewhere nearby, a cow lows, and a child giggles, chasing a butterfly through the crowd. It's not a grand affair, but it's home, warm and familiar. Under the quiet sky, Alina steps forward, her dress, a simple woolen gown, dyed a deep, earthy brown. It's her best dress, handed down from her mother, patched in places but clean and soft against her skin. She's woven daisies into her hair, their white petals glowing faintly in the twilight. Though a few are wilting from the warmth of the day, she doesn't mind. She stands straight, her hands clasped, her eyes bright with a mix of nerves and joy. Jacob is beside her, his tunic a little too big, smelling faintly of charcoal from the forge. His boots are scuffed, his hair roughly combed, but there's a quiet pride in his stance. He glances at Alina, and for a moment the world is just the two of them, standing under the oak, with the village watching like a warm, protective circle. The priest begins, his voice low and steady, like the hum of a distant river. He speaks of vows, of a life shared, of God's quiet presence in their union. The words are simple, unadorned, but they carry weight, settling over the crowd like a soft blanket. Alina and Jacob nod, their voices barely above a whisper as they say, "I take you as mine." There's no ring-rings are for nobles, far away in stone castles. Instead, they exchange a small token, a woven band of straw for Alina, a carved wooden bead for Jacob. They clasp hands, their fingers warm and calloused, and the village murmurs its approval, a soft chorus of agreement. The priest raises his hands, mutters a quick blessing, and it's done. They're married, bound by words and the gentle hum of community. Under the stars that are just beginning to shine, the feast begins. Not with fanfare, but with the soft clatter of wooden bowls and the crackle of a fire nearby. The villagers gather around logs and stumps, some sitting on the grass, others leaning against a creaking fence. A cauldron of stew simmers over the fire, its steam curling into the cool evening air, carrying the scent of cabbage, leeks, and barley. If someone was lucky, there's a bit of chicken in there, too, adding a faint richness to the aroma. Bowls are passed around, spoons clinking softly, though some eat with their hands, scooping warm stew with crusts of dense sour bread. The bread is heavy, baked fresh that morning, its crust crackling as it's torn apart. Ale flows freely, poured from heavy clay jugs into shared mugs. It's warm, slightly bitter, with a tint that makes your cheeks flush. The children dart through the crowd, giggling, chasing a dog who's stolen a crumb, their laughter blending with the fire's gentle crackle. There's music, too, not a grand orchestra, but a neighbor with a wooden flute, its notes soft and repetitive, floating over the gathering like a lullaby. The tune is old, passed down through generations, simple but comforting, like the rhythm of the seasons. Someone stomps their foot, another claps, and a few brave souls begin to dance. It's not elegant, just a gentle sway, a hop or two, bare feet brushing the grass. The children join in, spinning until they tumble into the soft earth, laughing. As they fall, the air feels light, the stars brighter, and for a moment, the world is just this village, this fire, this shared moment of joy. The oak tree watches over it all, its leaves whispering softly, as if singing along. As the night deepens, the crowd grows quieter. The fire burns low, its embers glowing like tiny stars against the dark. The flute fades, replaced by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Villagers sit closer, sharing stories of harvests past, of storms weathered, of lambs born in spring. Alina and Jacob slip away, unnoticed, to a hayloft in the barn, where the air smells of straw and quiet promises. The village doesn't mind No, the couple needs this moment, this gentle escape from the world. The feast carries on, mugs clinking softly, voices murmuring, the fire crackling its steady rhythm. And so the night drifts on, slow and warm, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and safe. The next morning, the village wakes slowly. The air is cool, the ground still damp with dew. The feast is a memory now, marked by scattered crumbs, an overturned jug, and a single shoe left in the grass. No one knows whose. The children are already up, chasing each other with sticks, their laughter a soft echo of the night before. Alina and Jacob emerge from the barn, straw in their hair, their smiles shy but content. The villagers nod, offering quiet blessings, and life resumes its gentle rhythm, fields to tend, bread to bake, and the stars to watch again tonight. And so the village settles back into its quiet ways, carrying the memory of a wedding, simple and true, under the twilight sky. An ancient Greek symposium now. Let's drift from the muddy fields of medieval Europe, where the fire's embers glow softly, to the warm, lamplit rooms of ancient Greece, where wine flows gently and voices murmur under the stars. The air feels different here, warm and fragrant, carrying the scent of olive oil, burning incense, and the faint sweetness of grapes ripened under the Mediterranean sun. It's evening in Athens, and a symposium is about to begin, quiet gathering. Not of raucous celebration, but of shared thoughts, soft laughter, and the gentle clink of clay cups. Close your eyes. Let the hum of history wrap around you like a warm blanket, and imagine a room where time moves slowly, where the world feels calm and still. Picture a small house, its walls made of sun-baked clay, tucked along a quiet street in Athens. The sun has set, and the sky is a deep indigo, dotted with stars that seem to listen in. Inside, a square room glows with the soft flicker of oil lamps, their flames dancing gently on the wick, casting shadows on walls painted with scenes of gods and nymphs. The air smells of myrrh, a faint smoky sweetness, blending with the earthy aroma of wine and the warm, doughy scent of fresh flatbreads. The room is called the Andron, a space reserved for men to gather, to talk, to think, to rest. It's not grand, but it's intimate, with low couches arranged in a loose circle, each cushioned with wool, inviting you to lean back, to sink into their softness, to let the night unfold. The host, a man named Callias, moves quietly through the room, his sandals brushing against the cool stone floor. He's not a king or a warrior, just a scholar with a love for words and a cellar full of wine. His guests arrive one by one, their cloaks draped loosely, their voices low and warm as they greet each other. There's a poet with a lyre tucked under his arm, a philosopher with a thoughtful frown, and a young student, his eyes wide with curiosity, eager to listen. They recline on the couches, not sitting stiffly but leaning on one elbow, their bodies relaxed, their minds open. The air feels alive, but not hurry, just a gentle hum of connection, like the soft buzz of bees in a summer garden. The evening begins with a meal, simple and unpretentious. Servants' quiet figures in the background carry in trays of food, flatbreads still warm from the oven, their surfaces dusted with grains. Olives, dark and glistening, with a faint salty tempz, and roasted fish, their delicate aroma mingling with the herbs sprinkled over them. The guests eat slowly, tearing bread with their hands, popping olives into their mouths, savoring the flavors as the lamps flicker softly. A clay jug of water sits on a low table, its surface cool to the touch, and beside it, a larger vessel holds wind dark, earthy, with a sweetness that lingers. The meal is cleared away, the floor swept gently with a broom, its bristles whispering against the stone. And then, the real heart of the symposium begins, the wine. The wine is poured from a wide-mouthed crater, its clay painted with scenes of dancing satyrs and laughing nymphs. Callias mixes it carefully with water, 2 parts water to 1 part. Wine to keep the mind clear and the heart light. The scent rises, rich and warm, filling the room with a promise of ease. The wine is passed clockwise, each man dipping his cup. A shallow calyx with delicate handles, its surface gleaming in the lamplight. The cups are painted too, with playful images, lovers chasing each other, gods lounging under trees, reveal themselves slowly as the wine is sipped. A guest raises his cup, offering a quiet toast to Dionysus, the god of wine, his voice soft, almost a whisper, to joy, to thought. To the night, he says, and the others murmur in agreement. Their cups clinking gently, a sound like distant bells. The symposium is not just about drinking. It's a ritual, a sacred pause where ideas bloom like flowers in the quiet. The men take turns speaking, their voices low and deliberate, weaving through topics as soft and winding as a river. One man, the poet, speaks of love, not the fiery passion of youth, but the steady, quiet kind, like the warmth of a hearth. Another, the philosopher, muses about the stars, wondering if they're gods or merely fire, his words drifting like smoke. The young student listens, his breath slow, his mind soaking in the ideas like a sponge. In the corner, a flute girl plays, her notes soft and repetitive, floating over the room like a gentle breeze. The music is simple, a melody that loops and sways, lulling the mind, calming the heart. Sometimes, the poet picks up his lyre, plucking a few quiet chords, their vibrations blending with the murmur of voices and the faint crackle of the lamps. The conversation flows, unhurried, like the wine itself. Someone suggests a game, a playful challenge where you flick the last drops of wine from your cup at a target, a small bronze disc balanced on a stand. The room fills with soft laughter as the poet tries and misses, the wine splashing harmlessly onto the floor. Better luck next time, Callias says, his voice warm, and the others chuckle, their laughter a gentle ripple. The game is less about winning and more about the rhythm, the flick of the wrist, the soft patter of wine, the shared smiles. The night feels timeless, as if the stars outside are pausing to listen, their light filtering through the open window, cool and silver dot. As the hours pass, the lamps burn lower, their flames growing small, their light softer. The flute girls. Music fades, replaced by the distant chirp of crickets and the faint rustle of olive trees outside. The conversation slows, the voice is quieter, the words more thoughtful. The young student leans back, his eyes half closed, his mind drifting between the words and the warmth of the wine. Callias pours another round, the crater nearly empty now, its clay cool against his hands. The men sip slowly, savoring the last drops, their thoughts settling like dust after a long day. The room feels intimate, a cocoon of light and sound. Where the world outside fades away, leaving only this moment, this gentle gathering. The symposium winds down, not with a flourish, but with a sigh. One by one, the guests rise, their cloaks draped over their shoulders, their steps soft on the stone floor. They thank Callias, their voices low, their smiles warm. The flute girl gathers her things, her movements quiet, her presence a fleeting shadow. The lamps are snuffed out, one by one, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of oil and myrrh. The room grows dark, save for the faint glow of starlight through the window. Callias stands alone, looking out at the night, the air cool against his skin. The city sleeps, its streets quiet, its people dreaming. And so, the symposium ends, leaving only the memory of wine, words, and the soft hum of connection under a sky full of stars. Beauty rituals on the Nile. Now, let's drift from the warm, lamplit rooms of ancient Greece, where wine glows softly in clay cups, to the sunlit banks of the Nile, where the air smells of lotus flowers, and beauty rituals unfold in the quiet heat. It's a warm afternoon in ancient Egypt, the sun hanging low, casting a golden shimmer across the river's surface. The air is heavy with the scent of water, reeds, and the faint sweetness of blooming jasmine. Women gather near the water's edge, their linen dresses brushing softly against their skin. Their voices a gentle murmur like the ripple of the Nile. Itself, this is a moment of care, of quiet routine, where beauty is not just adornment, but a sacred act woven into the rhythm of the day. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the sun wrap around you, and imagine a world where time moves slowly, where every gesture feels calm and deliberate. Picture a small courtyard, shaded by tall palm trees, their fronds swaying gently in the breeze. The ground is packed earth, smooth and cool under bare feet, dusted with fine sand that sparkles in the sunlight. Nearby, the Nile flows steadily, its waters glinting like polished bronze, whispering softly as they lap against the shore. A group of women sit together, their movements unhurried, their laughter low and warm. They are not queens or priestesses, just ordinary women, sisters, mothers, neighbors sharing the daily ritual of tending to their bodies, their skin, their hair. The air smells of lotus oil, sweet and floral, mingling with the earthy temps of the river and the faint, dusty warmth of the desert beyond. It's a simple scene, but it feels alive, grounded, connected to the land and the water. At the center of the courtyard, a low stone table holds the tools of beauty, arranged with care. Small alabaster jars filled with oils, a clay bowl of black coal, a bronze mirror polished to a soft shine. The women sit on woven reed mats, their fingers moving slowly, deliberately as they prepare. One woman, named Nefert, dips her fingers into a jar of sesame oil, its golden surface catching the light. She rubs it gently into her arms, the oil sinking into her skin, leaving a faint sheen that glows in the sun. The scent is warm, nutty, comforting, like bread baking in a distant oven. She passes the jar to her sister, who smiles and does the same, her movements slow, almost meditative. The act is simple, but it's shared, a quiet bond between them, like the steady flow of the Nile. The most important ritual is the kohl, the dark paste that lines their eyes. It's not just for beauty, though it makes their eyes gleam like the river at dusk. Kohl protects, too, keeping the harsh sun at bay, warding off the dust and insects that drift from the desert. Nefert takes a small wooden stick, its tip smoothed by years of use, and dips it into the clay bowl. The kohl is thick, black as night, made from ground galena and soot, mixed with a drop of water from the Nile. She leans toward the bronze mirror, its surface slightly wavy, reflecting her face in soft, warm tones. With a steady hand, she traces the kohl along her eyelids, drawing a line that curves gently, like the arc of a crescent moon. The motion is slow, deliberate, almost hypnotic, as if she's painting a prayer. Her sister watches, nodding, then takes her turn, the stick moving smoothly, the kohl settling into place. The women talk as they work, their voices soft, their words blending with the sounds around them, the rustle of palm fronds, the distant call of an ibis, the gentle splash of the river. They speak of small things, the market tomorrow, the bread they baked at dawn, the festival coming next month. There's no rush, no urgency, just the quiet rhythm of conversation, like the lapping of waves. One woman, older, with silver threads in her hair, shares a story about her grandmother, who used to grind coal under the same sun, beside the same river. The others listen, their hands moving steadily, applying oil, braiding hair, or polishing their nails with a soft stone. The story drifts, unfinished, but no one minds. It's enough to hear the words, to feel the connection, to be here in this moment under the warm, endless sky. Hair is next, a ritual as old as the Nile itself. The women comb their dark tresses with bone combs, their teeth worn smooth from years of use. They work slowly, untangling knots with care, their fingers gliding through strands that shine like polished ebony. Some weave their hair into loose braids, tucking in beads of faience, blue and green, that clink softly as they move. Others rub in a mixture of castor oil and honey, the scent sweet and heavy, making their hair soft and fragrant. The act is calming, repetitive, each stroke of the comb a quiet beat, like the pulse of the river. A young girl, sitting nearby, watches wide-eyed, learning by watching, her small hands mimicking the motions on her own hair. The women smile, their laughter a gentle ripple, welcoming her into the circle. Jewelry comes last, not for vanity, but for meaning. A woman slips a bracelet onto her wrist, its bronze surface etched with lotus flowers, cool against her skin. Another fastens a necklace of carnelian beads, their red glow catching the sun like drops of fire. Each piece tells a story of a market trade, a gift from a mother, a charm for protection. The women adjust their adornments slowly, their fingers lingering as if sealing a quiet promise. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of oil and jasmine, and the courtyard hums with a soft energy like the buzz of a distant beehive. The Nile flows on, its waters steady, its sound a constant lullaby, tying the women to the land, to the gods, to each other. As the sun begins to sink, the light shifts, turning the courtyard golden, then pink, then a soft lavender. The women finish their rituals, their skin glowing, their eyes bright, their hair gleaming under the fading light. They gather their jars and combs, their movements unhurried, their voices fading into whispers. The river reflects the sky, a mirror of colors that shimmer and fade. The women walk back to their homes, their sandals brushing against the earth, their shadows long and soft. The courtyard grows quiet, save for the rustle of palms and the gentle flow of the Nile. The air holds the memory of their presence, scent of lotus, the warmth of oil, the faint echo of laughter. Night falls, and the stars emerge, one by one, over the river. The women are home now, their lamps glowing softly, their families gathered around simple meals of bread and lentils. The rituals of the day linger, not in grand gestures, but in the small Quiet acts, soiling the skin, lining the eyes, braiding the hair. These are the threads that weave their lives together, steady and unbroken, like the Nile itself. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and eternal. A quiet day in Jamestown. Now let's drift from the warm, sunlit banks of the Nile, where lotus flowers bloom softly, to the misty shores of a new world, where settlers build homes, and hope grows quietly in the morning fog. It's a cool dawn in Jamestown, Virginia, in the early 1600s, where the air smells of damp wood, river water, and the faint smoke of newly lit fires. The James River flows nearby, its waters lapping gently against the muddy banks, whispering a steady rhythm that blends with the chirp of early birds. This is a young settlement, a cluster of wooden houses and rough fences, nestled between dense forests and wide marshes. Life here is simple, deliberate, shaped by the land and the seasons. Close your eyes, let the cool mist settle around you, and imagine a day unfolding slowly, where every task feels steady, every moment calm and grounded. Picture the settlement at first light, when the sky is still grey, streaked with pink and gold. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of pine from the nearby woods and the earthy temps of the river. Jamestown is small, just a few dozen homes made of timber and mud, their roofs thatched with reeds that rustle softly in the breeze. Smoke curls from chimneys, thin and grey, as families light their hearths to warm the morning chill. The ground is uneven, a mix of dirt and grass, still wet with dew that clings to your boots. Somewhere a rooster crows, its call sharp but distant, answered by the low moo of a cow tethered near the palisade. The settlers move slowly, their footsteps soft, their voices hushed as they begin the day's work. A woman named Mary steps out of her small house, her apron tied loosely, her hair tucked under a linen cap. She carries a wooden bucket, its handle worn smooth, and heads toward the river to fetch water. The path is narrow, winding through patches of wild grass, and her skirt brushes against the blades, making a faint swishing sound. The river is close, its surface shimmering in the early light, reflecting the clouds above. Mary kneels at the bank, dipping her bucket into the cool water, its weight tugging gently at her hands as she lifts it. The splash of the water is soft, rhythmic, blending with the hum of insects waking in the reeds. She pauses, breathing in the damp air, feeling the mist settle on her skin like a light veil. The world feels quiet, new, as if it's just waking up alongside her. Back at the settlement, others are stirring. A man named Thomas, a carpenter, is already at work, his axe thudding softly against a log as he shapes it into a beam for a new house. The wood smells fresh, sharp and green, its scent mingling with the smoke from the hearth. Each swing of the axe is steady, deliberate, the sound echoing faintly across the clearing, a dull, comforting rhythm, like a heartbeat. Nearby, a group of women gather around a communal fire, their hands busy with tasks. One kneads dough for bread, her fingers sinking into the soft, floury mass. Another stirs a pot of porridge, its steam rising in gentle curls, carrying the warm, nutty scent of cornmeal. The fire crackles softly, its embers glowing red, casting a warm light on their faces. They talk quietly, their voices blending with the morning sounds, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a hawk, the steady flow of the river Dot. The houses are simple, their walls made of wattle and daub-woven branches, plastered with mud that dries hard in the sun. Inside, the air is cool and dim, smelling of earth and straw. A family sits on a wooden bench, sharing a breakfast of cornbread and dried fish, their spoons clinking softly against clay bowls. The bread is dense, slightly sweet, baked on a flat stone by the fire. The fish, caught from the river, is salty, its flavor lingering on the tongue. They eat slowly, savoring each bite. Their conversation low and unhurried talk of the weather, the crops, the hope for a good harvest. A child, barely 6, sits nearby, playing with a small wooden toy, a carved horse that rolls across the dirt floor. His laughter is soft, a gentle ripple that fades into the morning calm. Outside, the work continues, steady and rhythmic. A group of men repair a section of the palisade, a wooden fence that surrounds the settlement, its stakes weathered but strong. They hammer pegs into place, the sound a muffled thump, like the beat of a distant drum. The wood creaks as it settles, blending with the breeze that carries the scent of pine and salt from the nearby marshes. A woman tends a small garden, her hands digging into the soil, planting seeds of corn and beans. The earth is cool, crumbly, smelling of life and promise. She hums softly, a tune without words, her voice mingling with the rustle of leaves overhead. The garden is modest, but it's hers, a patch of hope in this new land. The river is the heart of Jamestown, its waters providing fish, transport, and life. A fisherman stands at the edge, his net cast wide, its ropes trailing in the current. The water splashes gently as he pulls it in, revealing a small catch of silvery fish, their scales glinting in the sunlight. He works slowly, his movements calm, his breath steady as he sorts the fish into a woven basket. The river hums, its sound a constant lullaby, tying the settlement together. Children play nearby, skipping stones across the water, their laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples they create. The stones plunk into the river, one by one, their sound a quiet beat that fades into the morning as noon approaches. The sun climbs higher, warming the air, drying the dew on the grass. The settlers pause, gathering in the shade of a large oak tree, its branches heavy with leaves that whisper in the breeze. They share a simple meal: bread, cheese, and a few apples brought from England. Their tartness a faint reminder of home. The cheese is soft, crumbling under their fingers, its scent rich and earthy. They sit on the grass, their backs against the tree, their voices low as they talk of small things, the shape of the clouds, the sound of the river, the hope for rain. The air feels warm now, but not heavy, carrying the faint salt of the marshes and the green scent of the forest. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. A woman spins wool, her spindle twirling smoothly, the wool soft and warm in her hands. The whir of the spindle is faint, steady, like the hum of a distant bee. Another mends a fishing net, her needle moving in and out, the thread catching the light. The men return to their work chopping wood, repairing roofs, tending livestock. A cow grazes near the palisade, its bell clinking softly with each step. The settlement hums with quiet activity, each sound blending into a gentle symphony. The thud of an axe, the rustle of straw, the murmur of voices, the flow of the river as the sun begins to set. The sky turns gold, then pink, then a deep, soft blue. The settlers gather again, this time around a communal fire, its flames low and warm, casting a flickering light across their faces. They share stories, not of grand adventures, but of ordinary days, of a good catch, a sturdy roof, a seedling sprouting in the garden. The fire crackles softly, its smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning pine. A child falls asleep, curled in his mother's lap, his breath slow and even. The river flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars of the night. Night falls, and Jamestown grows quiet. The fires burn low, their embers glowing like tiny stars. The settlers return to their homes, their footsteps soft on the earth, their lamps glowing faintly through small windows. The air is cool again, filled with the scent of river water and forest pine. The settlement sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new harvests, new hopes. And so the night settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A medieval market morning. Now let's drift from the misty shores of Jamestown, where the river hums softly under the stars, to a bustling medieval market in Europe, where the air smells of fresh bread, and voices murmur gently under the morning sun. It's dawn in a small town, nestled in a green valley, where rolling hills stretch toward the horizon, dotted with grazing sheep. The market square is waking up, its cobblestones cool and damp with dew, reflecting the first light of day. The air carries the scent of wood smoke, baked dough, and the faint sweetness of apples piled high on wooden carts. This is a market day, a time when villagers gather, not in haste, but with a quiet rhythm, to trade, to talk, to share the simple joys of the day. Close your eyes, let the hum of the crowd wrap around you like a soft shawl, and imagine a morning unfolding slowly, where every sound feels familiar, every moment calm and warm. Picture the square, a wide open space surrounded by timber-framed houses, their thatched roofs leaning slightly, as if bowing to the morning. The cobblestones are uneven, worn smooth by years of footsteps, carts, and hooves. A wooden stall stands at the center, its boards creaking faintly as a merchant arranges his wares: baskets of turnips, bundles of herbs, and small round cheeses wrapped in cloth. The air is alive with scents, the warm, yeasty smell of bread from a baker's oven, the sharp tang of wool from a weaver's stall, the earthy musk of mud clinging to boots. Somewhere nearby a horse snorts, its breath visible in the cool air, and a bell jingles softly as a cart rolls into the square. The sounds blend together, low hum of voices, the clink of coins, the rustle of straw creating a gentle symphony. Like a lullaby for the morning, a woman named Agnes moves through the crowd, her basket tucked under her arm, her cloak brushing the ground. She's a weaver, her hands rough from years of spinning wool, but her eyes are bright as she surveys the stalls. She stops at a baker's table where loaves of bread are stacked high, their crusts golden and crackling, still warm. From the oven, the baker, a stout man with flour-dusted hands, offers her a small loaf, its surface dusted with barley grains. Agnes tears off a piece, the bread soft inside, its scent filling the air like a warm hug. She nods, exchanging a few copper coins, their edges worn smooth, clinking softly as they change hands. The transaction is unhurried, a quiet moment of connection. As the baker smiles and turns to knead another batch of dough, his hands sinking rhythmically into the soft mass nearby. A farmer unloads his cart, his arms full of cabbages, their leaves crisp and green, glistening with morning dew. He sets them on a wooden table, their weight making the boards creak faintly. A group of children dart past, their laughter high and fleeting, chasing a stray goose that waddles through the square. Its feathers ruffled, but its pace unhurried. The goose honks softly, a sound that blends with the murmur of the crowd, the creak of cartwheels, and the distant bleat of sheep on the hills. The children giggle, their bare feet slapping against the cobblestones, leaving small prints in the damp earth. No one scolds them. The market is their playground, a place of joy, where the world feels open and kind. At another stall, a spice merchant arranges small sacks of dried herbs, rosemary, thyme, and fennel, their scents sharp and green, rising in the cool air. A woman pauses, her fingers brushing over a sack of fennel, its aroma reminding her of soups simmering on winter nights. She haggles gently, her voice low, her words measured, as if savoring the conversation as much as the trade. The merchant, his beard streaked with grey, nods slowly, offering a handful of dried leaves as a gift. The exchange is simple, unhurried, sealed with a smile and a quiet thank you. The air around the stall feels warm, fragrant, as if the spices themselves are weaving a spell of calm over the square. A tinker moves through the crowd, his cart rattling softly, filled with pots, knives, and small bronze bells that jingle with each step. His voice rises, a gentle chant, pots to mend, knives to sharpen, bells for your flock. The words are familiar, a refrain heard at every market, comforting in their repetition. A farmer stops him, holding out a dented copper pan, its surface worn but sturdy. The tinker sets to work, his hammer tapping lightly, the sound a soft, steady beat, like rain on a roof. The farmer watches, leaning against a post, his hands folded, his breath slow and even. The market hums around them, a tapestry of sounds, voices, bargaining, carts creaking. A lute player strumming a quiet tune in the corner. The lute player sits under a wooden awning, his fingers moving slowly over the strings, plucking notes that drift across the square like leaves on a stream. The melody is simple, repetitive, its rhythm soothing, like the sway of a cradle. A few villagers pause to listen, their baskets resting at their feet, their faces softened by the music. A child, clutching a small apple, sits cross-legged nearby, her eyes half closed, lulled by the sound. The lute player doesn't ask for coins, he plays for the joy of it, for the way the notes blend with the morning, with the hum of the market, with the gentle pulse of life. As the sun climbs higher, the square grows busier, but never loud. The crowd moves slowly, their footsteps a soft shuffle, their voices a steady murmur. A weaver displays her cloth, bolts of wool dyed in earthy browns and greens, their texture rough but warm under the fingers. A woman runs her hand over the fabric, feeling its weight, imagining it as a cloak for winter. She speaks softly to the weaver, their heads bent together, their words lost in the hum of the crowd. Nearby, a blacksmith shows his wares iron nails. A horseshoe, a small knife with a wooden handle. The metal glints in the sunlight, its surface cool to the touch, and the blacksmith's voice is low, steady, as he explains its use to a farmer, who nods slowly, his hands tracing the knife's edge. The market is a dance, each step familiar, each gesture deliberate. A woman sells eggs, their shells smooth and pale, nestled in a basket of straw. Another offers jars of honey, their golden contents glowing. In the sun, their scent sweet and heavy, like summer itself. A boy carries a bundle of firewood, his arms full, his steps careful as he weaves through the crowd. The air is filled with small sounds, the cluck of hens, the creak of a stall, the soft thud of a sack hitting the ground. The scents shift with Each step bred herbs, wool, leather blending into a warm, comforting cloud that wraps around the square as noon approaches. The sun warms the cobblestones, drying the dew, casting soft shadows under the stalls. Some villagers pause, sitting on benches or leaning against walls, sharing bread and cheese from their baskets. The cheese is sharp, crumbling under their fingers, its scent mingling with the apples they slice with small knives. They eat slowly, their conversation quiet, their laughter soft, like the rustle of leaves overhead. A breeze moves through the square, carrying the scent of the fields, of hay and wildflowers, cooling the air just enough to feel refreshing. The market slows, but doesn't stop, its rhythm steady, like the heartbeat of the town. As the afternoon fades, the stalls begin to empty. The baker's bread is nearly gone, only a few crumbs left on his table. The spice merchant ties his sacks, the weaver rolls her cloth, and the tinker packs his bells, their jingle fading as he pushes his cart away. The crowd thins, the voices quieter, the square settling into a gentle calm. The lute player plays. One last tune, its notes soft and slow, drifting into the air like a sigh. The villagers head home, their baskets lighter, their hearts full, carrying the memory of the marketer morning of trade, of talk, of shared moments under the sun. Night falls, and the square grows still. The cobblestones gleam faintly under the starlight, the stalls empty, the air cool and quiet. The town sleeps, its houses glowing with the soft light of lamps, its people dreaming of the next market day. And so the evening settles, calm and gentle, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and timeless. Crafting by the Euphrates. Now let's drift from the bustling market square, where the air hums with voices and the scent of fresh bread, to the sun-baked banks of the Euphrates, where artisans shape clay, and the river sings softly in the morning light. It's a warm dawn in ancient Mesopotamia, in a small village near the city of yore, where the air carries the scent of wet earth, reeds, and the faint smoke of kiltons warming under the sun. The Euphrates flows steadily, its waters glinting like polished bronze, whispering a gentle rhythm that weaves through the village. This is a place of creation, where hands work slowly, molding clay, weaving reeds, firing bricks in the quiet. Heat, close your eyes. Let the warmth of the sun settle over you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every movement feels steady, every sound calm and soothing. Picture the village, a cluster of mud brick houses nestled along the river's edge, their flat roofs glowing golden in the early light. The ground is soft, a mix of sand and clay, still cool from the night's breeze. Reeds grow thick along the riverbank, their tall stalks swaying softly, rustling like a whispered lullaby. Smoke rises in thin curls from a nearby kill, its earthy scent blending with the damp, fertile smell of the river. The village is small, but alive with quiet activity, artisans moving through their tasks, their hands steady, their voices low, blending with the hum of the water and the distant call of a heron. The air feels warm, heavy with promise, as if the earth itself is breathing alongside the people. An artisan named Enki sits by the river, his hands buried in a mound of clay, its surface cool and smooth under his fingers. He's a potter, one of many in the village, crafting pots and jars for grain, oil, and water. The clay is fresh, dug from the riverbank, its texture soft and pliable, smelling of earth and rain. Enki kneads it slowly, his fingers pressing and turning, the clay yielding like dough under his touch. The motion is rhythmic, deliberate, a quiet dance of hands and earth. Nearby, the Euphrates flows, its waters lapping gently against the shore, a steady hum that matches the rhythm of his work. Enki's stool is low, carved from a single piece of wood, its surface worn smooth by years of use. He sits in the shade of a palm tree, its fronds whispering overhead, casting dappled shadows across the clay. The potter's wheel, a simple disc of wood, spins slowly under Enki's foot. Its creak soft and steady, like the heartbeat of the village. He shapes the clay, his hands guiding it into a wide-mouthed jar, its sides rising smooth and even. The clay is cool, almost alive, slipping gently under his fingers as it takes form. He hums softly, a tuneless melody that blends with the river's song, the rustle of reeds, the faint crackle of the kiln nearby. His wife, Inanna, sits close, her hands busy with a reed basket, weaving the stalks with care. The reeds are golden, cut fresh from the river, their scent sharp and green, like the fields after rain. Her fingers move in a steady rhythm, looping and pulling, the basket growing slowly under her touch. The air around them feels calm, grounded, filled with the quiet music of work. Across the village, other artisans are at their tasks, each movement deliberate, each sound a soft note in the morning's symphony. A brickmaker kneels by a wooden mold, packing it with a mixture of clay and straw, his hands pressing firmly, the mixture squishing softly under his palms. The bricks will dry in the sun, their surfaces hardening to a warm, golden brown, ready to build a house or a temple. The scent of straw and clay hangs in the air, earthy and comforting, like the smell of the earth after a storm. Nearby, a woman shapes small clay tablets, her stylus carving simple marks records of grain, oil, or trade. The stylus scratches faintly, a whisper of sound that blends with the river's flow, the rustle of palm fronds, the low hum of voices. A kiln burns at the edge of the village, its fire glowing red, its heat warming the air. A young boy tends it, adding dried reeds to the flames, their crackle sharp but fleeting, like the pop of a twig underfoot. The kiln's smoke rises thin and grey, carrying the scent of burning straw and baked clay. The boy moves slowly, his hands careful, his face flushed from the heat. He watches the pots inside, their surfaces turning from soft grey to a warm, reddish hue, glowing like the sunrise. The process is slow, unhurried, a quiet act of transformation, as if the clay is dreaming under the fire's touch. The boy hums, his voice soft, blending with the sounds around him, the river, the reeds, the distant bleat of a goat grazing on the hillside. In the shade of another palm tree, a weaver works at her loom, her hands threading wool through a frame of wood and red. The wool is coarse, dyed a deep ochre with madder root, its scent earthy and warm. The loom creaks softly with each pass of the shuttle, a gentle rhythm that matches the flow of the river. The weaver, an older woman with silver in her hair, moves with practiced ease, her fingers steady, her eyes half closed, as if lost in the motion. A child sits nearby, watching, her small hands clutching a bundle of wool, learning by watching, her breath slow and even. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of wool and clay, and the village hums with a quiet energy, like the buzz of a distant beehive. The river is the heart of the village, its waters feeding the fields, the clay, the people. A fisherman casts his net, its ropes trailing in the current, the water splashing softly as it settles. He pulls it in, revealing a small catch of fish, their scales glinting like silver in the sunlight. He works slowly, sorting the fish into a reed basket, their weight tugging gently at his hands. The river hums, its sound a constant lullaby, tying the village together. Children play nearby, shaping small clay figures, tiny boats, animals, gods, their laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples on the water. The clay is cool in their hands, its texture soothing, its smell grounding them to the earth. As noon approaches, the sun climbs higher, warming the village, drying the clay in the sun's gentle heat. The artisans pause, gathering in the shade of a large mud brick wall, sharing a simple meal of flatbread and dates. The bread is dense, baked on a clay griddle, its surface marked with the faint char of the fire. The dates are sweet, sticky, their flavor bursting on the tongue. They eat slowly, their hands breaking bread, their voices low, talking of the river, the harvest, the pots that will be finished by dusk. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of baked clay and the faint sweetness of dates. The river flows on, its waters shimmering, its sound a steady hum that wraps around them. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Enki finishes his jar, smoothing its rim with a wet cloth, the clay gleaming under his touch. Inanna weaves another row of her basket, the reeds bending softly under her fingers. The brickmaker stacks his dried bricks, their surfaces warm from the sun, their weight solid and reassuring. The weaver's loom creaks, the fisherman's net splashes, the children's laughter fades into giggles. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the lap of the river, the crackle of the kilt, the hum of voices, the rustle of reeds. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then orange, then a soft, deep blue. The artisans finish their work, their hands dusty with clay, their faces calm with the satisfaction of a day well spent. The kiln cools, its embers glowing faintly, like stars against the earth. The village grows quiet, save for the river's steady flow and the distant call of a night bird. The artisans return to their homes, their lamps glowing softly, their families gathered around simple meals of bread and fish. The day's work lingers, not in grand creations, but in the small, quiet act shaping clay, weaving reeds, building a life by the river. Night falls, and the village sleeps. The Euphrates flows on, its waters dark and shimmering, reflecting the stars above. The air is cool now, filled with the scent of clay and reeds. The houses glow with faint lamplight, their walls holding the warmth of the day. The artisans dream, their hands still, their hearts full, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and eternal. A quiet day in ancient Rome. Now let's drift from the sun-baked banks of the Euphrates, where the river sings softly and artisans shape clay, to the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where the air hums with voices, and the city wakes under a golden dawn. It's early morning in Rome, in the heart of the empire, where the Tiber River flows gently, its waters catching the first light of day. The air carries the scent of fresh bread, olive oil, and the faint smoke of lamps still burning from the night before. The streets are narrow, paved with smooth stones, winding between tall buildings of brick and plaster. This is a city alive, yet calm, where life unfolds slowly, in the rhythm of footsteps, laughter, and the quiet clatter of daily tasks. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the Roman sun wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every sound feels familiar, every moment soft and grounded. Picture the Forum, the heart of Rome, as the city stirs. The sky is pale, streaked with pink and gold, casting a soft glow over the marble columns and cobblestone paths. The air is cool, carrying the damp scent of the Tiber and the warm, yeasty aroma of bread baking in nearby ovens. Merchants are setting up their stalls, their wooden tables creaking faintly as they arrange baskets of figs, jars of honey, and bolts of woolen cloth. The Forum is not yet crowded, but it hums with a quiet energy the low murmur of voices. The shuffle of sandals on stone, the distant splash of a fountain. A pigeon coos, its call echoing off the stone walls, blending with the soft clink of coins changing hands. The world feels awake, but not rushed, as if Rome itself is stretching slowly under the morning sun. A woman named Livia steps out of her insula, a tall apartment building where families live, stacked like honeycomb. Her tunic is simple, woven from soft linen, its hem brushing her ankles as she walks. She carries a woven basket, its fibers worn smooth, and heads toward the market to buy bread and oil for the day. The street is narrow, shaded by overhanging balconies, their wooden shutters creaking faintly as neighbors open them to the morning. The cobblestones are cool under her sandals, their surface worn smooth by countless footsteps. She passes a baker's shop, its oven glowing red, the scent of fresh bread spilling out like a warm embrace. The baker, a man with flour-dusted hands, nods to her, his voice low as he calls out, "Bread, fresh from the fire." Livia smiles, her fingers brushing the warm loaf as she hands over a bronze coin. Its edges smooth and cool. The streets are coming alive now, but the pace is gentle, unhurried. A cart rolls by, its wheels rumbling softly over the stones, carrying amphorae of olive oil, their clay surfaces gleaming in the sunlight. The driver hums a tune, simple and repetitive, its notes blending with the sounds of the city, the splash of water from a nearby fountain, the chatter of women at a well, the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer. Children dart through the crowd, their laughter high and fleeting, chasing a leather ball that bounces across the stones. Their sandals slap against the pavement, a soft, rhythmic sound that fades into the hum of the morning. No one scolds them. Streets are their playground, a place of joy, where the city feels open and kind at the edge of the Forum. A fruit seller arranges her wares, her hands moving slowly as she stacks apples and figs in neat piles. The apples are small, their skins red and glossy, their scent tart and fresh, like a morning in the countryside. The figs are soft, their purple skins splitting slightly, revealing sweet flesh inside. A woman pauses, her fingers brushing over the fruit, her basket already heavy with bread and cheese. She haggles gently, her voice soft, her words measured, as if savoring the conversation as much as the trade. The seller nods, offering a handful of figs as a gift, her smile warm and unhurried. The air around the stall feels light, fragrant, with fruit and the faint dust of the cobblestones, as if the market itself is breathing. A water carrier moves through the crowd, his shoulders bent under the weight of 2 clay jars slung across a wooden yoke. The jars slosh softly, their contents cool and clear, drawn from the aqueducts that feed the city. He calls out, his voice low and steady, water, fresh and clean, straight from the hills. A shopkeeper stops him, holding out a small cup, and the carrier pours, the water splashing gently, its sound a quiet ripple in the morning air. The shopkeeper drinks slowly, the water cool against her lips, her eyes half closed in the warmth of the sun. The carrier moves on, his steps steady, his jars swaying slightly, their rhythm matching the pulse of the city. In a nearby street, a weaver sits at her loom, her hands threading wool through a wooden frame. The wool is soft, dyed a deep blue, with woad its scent earthy and warm, like the fields beyond the city. The loom creaks softly with each pass of the shuttle, a gentle sound that blends with the hum of voices outside. The weaver, an older woman with silver in her hair, moves with practiced ease, her fingers steady, her face calm. A child sits nearby, watching, her small hands clutching a bundle of wool, learning by watching, her breath slow and even. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of wool and wood, and the street hums with a quiet energy. Like the buzz of a distant beehive, the Tiber flows nearby, its waters steady, its surface reflecting the golden light of the sun. A fisherman casts his net from a small boat, its ropes trailing in the current, the water splashing softly as it settles. He pulls it in, revealing a small catch of fish, their scales glinting like silver in the sunlight. He works slowly, sorting the fish into a woven basket, their weight tugging gently at his hands. The river hums, its sound a constant lullaby, tying the city together. Children play along the bank, skipping stones across the water, their laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples they create. The stones plunk into the river, one by one, their sound a quiet beat that fades into the morning. As noon approaches, the sun climbs higher, warming the cobblestones, drying the dew on the streets. The Romans pause, gathering in the shade of a temple's marble columns, sharing a simple meal of bread, olives, and cheese. The bread is dense, its crust crackling as it's torn apart, its scent mingling with the salty tang of olives and the rich, creamy aroma of cheese. They eat slowly, their hands breaking bread, their voices low, talking of the weather, the market, the hope for a good harvest. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of olive oil and the faint dust of the city. A fountain nearby splashes softly, its water cool and clear. Adding a gentle rhythm to the meal, the afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. A baker kneads dough, his hands sinking into the soft mass, the flour dusting the air like fine snow. A cobbler mends a sandal, his needle moving in and out, the leather creaking softly under his touch. A woman spins wool, her spindle twirling smoothly, the wool soft and warm in her hands. The whir of the spindle is faint, steady, like the hum of a distant bee. The city moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony. The splash of the fountain, the clatter of a cart, the murmur of voices, the flow of the Tiber dot. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then pink, then a deep, soft blue. The Romans gather again, this time in small courtyards or around communal tables, their lamps glowing softly, casting a warm light across their faces. They share stories, not of wars or emperors, but of ordinary days, of a good bargain. At the market, a sturdy roof, a child's first steps. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning oil. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The Tiber flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars of the night. Night falls, and Rome grows quiet. The streets are still, save for the soft footsteps of a night watchman, his lamp glowing faintly. The air is cool, filled with the scent of river water and olive oil. The city sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new markets, new hopes. And so, the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A Viking ritual by the sea. Now, let's drift. From the bustling streets of Rome, where the Tiber hums softly under a golden dawn, to the windswept shores of a Viking village, where the sea whispers, and fires glow gently under a northern sky. It's twilight in a small settlement along a fjord, where the air smells of salt, pine, and the faint smoke of hearths burning low. The sea stretches wide, its waves lapping gently against a rocky shore, their rhythm steady, like a heartbeat carried on the wind. This is a night of ritual, not grand or solemn, but simple and quieter, gathering to honor the sea, the stars, and the bonds of the village. Close your eyes. Let the cool breeze wrap around you, and imagine a moment unfolding slowly, where every sound feels soothing, every gesture calm and grounded. Picture the village, a cluster of longhouses built from timber and turf, their roofs sloped and covered with grass that sways softly in the wind. The fjord glimmers under the fading light, its waters dark and deep, reflecting the first stars of the evening. The air is crisp, carrying the sharp tempts of seaweed, the earthy scent of damp wood, and the warm glow of fires burning in shallow pits. The shore is lined with smooth pebbles, their surfaces cool and slick from the tide, crunching faintly underfoot. A wooden boat rests on the beach, its hull weathered but sturdy, rocking gently as the waves brush against it. The village is small, its people close-knit, moving with a quiet purpose as they prepare for the ritual, their voices low, blending with the sea's endless song. A woman named Astrid stands near the water, her cloak of thick wool draped over her shoulders, its edges fluttering in the breeze. She carries a small basket woven from willow, filled with offerings for the seashells, a sprig of heather, a loaf of barley bread baked that morning. Her hair is braided, adorned with a single bronze bead that glints faintly in the twilight. She moves slowly, her boots sinking into the soft sand, her breath visible in the cool air. The ritual is simple, a way to thank the sea for its bounty, to ask for safe voyages, to honor the spirits that live in the waves. Astrid is joined by others, men, women, children, their faces lit by the soft glow of a fire burning nearby, its flames dancing low, casting shadows that flicker like spirits on the shore. The fire is the heart of the ritual, its embers glowing red against the darkening sky, its smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning pine and dried seaweed. A man named Eric, the village's boat builder, tends the flames, adding small branches that crackle softly, their sound blending with the waves' gentle lap. He moves with care, his hands rough from years of carving wood, his face calm as he watches the fire grow. The villagers gather in a loose circle around the fire, their cloaks drawn tight against the evening chill, their voices hushed like a whisper shared with the sea. A child clings to her mother's skirt, her small hands clutching a polished stone, her eyes wide as she watches the flames. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the night itself is pausing to listen. Astrid steps forward, her basket in hand, and kneels at the water's edge. The waves brush her fingers, cool and smooth, their rhythm steady, like a lullaby sung by the sea. She places a shell into the water, its surface gleaming white, sinking slowly into the shallows. For Injured, she murmurs, her voice soft, naming the god of the sea, asking for his protection. The villagers nod, their breath slow, their faces calm in the firelight. One by one, they add their offerings, a sprig of heather, a small fish. a piece of bread each gift sinking gently, carried by the tide. The act is simple, unhurried, a quiet conversation with the sea, sealed by the sound of waves and the crackle of the fire. A woman named Freya, the village's storyteller, begins to speak, her voice low and melodic, like the wind moving through the pines. She tells a tale of the sea, not of battles or heroes, but of a fisherman who followed the stars to find his way home, guided by their steady light. The story is familiar, told at every ritual, its words worn smooth like the pebbles on the shore. The villagers listen, their eyes half closed, their breath slow, lulled by the rhythm of her voice. A child yawns, nestling closer to her father, her small hands still clutching her stone. The fire crackles softly, its warmth spreading through the circle, blending with the cool breeze that carries the scent of salt and pine. Nearby, a man strums a bone flute, its notes soft and haunting, drifting over the shore like mist. The melody is simple, repetitive, looping gently, like the waves themselves. It weaves through Freya's story, tying the words to the sea, to the fire, to the night. The villagers sway slightly, their bodies relaxed, their minds drifting with the music. Some sit on the pebbles, their cloaks spread beneath them, the stones, cool and smooth against their hands. Others stand, their faces turned toward the sea, watching the waves glint under the starlight. The air feels calm, heavy with the scent of smoke and salt, as if the ritual is a thread tying the village to the world beyond. The offerings continue, each villager stepping to the water's edge, their movements slow, their gifts small but meaningful. A fisherman offers a knotted rope, its fibers worn from years of use, a symbol of his bond with the sea. A child tosses a handful of shells, their clatter faint as they hit the water, sinking into the depths. The waves accept each gift, their rhythm unchanging, their sound a constant hum that wraps around the village. The fire burns lower now, its embers glowing like tiny stars, casting a soft light on the faces of the gathered. The air grows cooler, the breeze sharper, carrying the faint cry of a gull circling overhead. As the ritual nears its end, Freya's story fades, her voice softening into silence, like a wave retreating from the shore. The flute player sets his instrument down, its final notes lingering in the air, blending with the sea's whisper. The villagers share a simple meal, passing around the barley bread from Astrid's basket, its texture dense and chewy, its flavor earthy and warm. They tear the bread slowly, their hands moving in unison, their voices low as they murmur thanks to the sea, to the stars, to each other. A jug of mead is passed, its honeyed sweetness lingering on the tongue, its warmth spreading through the chest. The children sip water from a wooden cup, its surface carved with simple runes, cool against their lips. The fire burns low, its embers fading, its smoke curling into the night. The villagers begin to drift back to their longhouses, their footsteps soft on the pebbles, their cloaks rustling faintly in the wind. Astrid lingers by the shore, her basket empty, her face calm as she watches the sea. The waves lap gently, their sound a quiet lullaby, carrying the offerings into the deep. The village grows still, save for the fire's faint crackle and the distant howl of the wind through the fjord. The longhouses glow with the soft light of lamps, their turf walls holding the warmth of the day. Night falls, and the village sleeps. The sea continues its song, its waves dark and shimmering, reflecting the stars above. The air is cool, filled with the scent of salt and pine. The villagers dream, their hearts full of the ritual's quiet promises, their hands still under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A gentle day in Heian, Japan now. Let's drift from the windswept shores of a Viking village, where the sea whispers softly under a northern sky, to the serene gardens of Heian, Japan, where cherry blossoms fall, and the air hums with quiet elegance. It's a soft morning in Kyoto in the year 1000, where the air carries the scent of sandalwood, blooming flowers, and the faint dampness of a nearby stream. The city is a tapestry of wooden palaces and gardens, their roofs curving gently, their walls adorned with sliding screens that rustle in the breeze. This is a day of quiet routines, where courtiers and artisans move with grace, their lives woven into the rhythm of the seasons. Close your eyes. Let the warmth of the morning sun wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding slowly, where every sound feels soothing, every moment calm and delicate. Picture a noble's estate, nestled among gardens where cherry trees stand, their branches heavy with pale pink blossoms that drift gently to the ground. The air is cool, carrying the sweet scent of flowers and the faint, woody aroma of incense burning in a bronze censer. A small stream runs through the garden, its waters gurgling softly, reflecting the soft light of dawn. The estate is built of polished wood, its beams dark and smooth, its sliding screens painted with scenes of cranes and mountains, their colors softened by time. The tatami mats inside are soft underfoot, their straw scent mingling with the morning air, creating a sense of calm. Like a sigh from the earth itself, a woman named Sei, a courtier known for her poetry, sits by an open screen, her silk kimono rustling faintly as she moves. The kimono is layered, its colors shifting from pale green to deep indigo, like the sky at twilight. She holds a small brush, its tip dipped in ink, and writes on a scroll of mulberry paper, its surface smooth and cool under her fingers. The ink smells faintly of charcoal, its black lines flowing like a river across the page. Sei writes slowly, her brush moving in gentle strokes, forming characters that speak of blossoms, moonlight, and the quiet passing of time. Her movements are deliberate, unhurried, each stroke a moment of stillness, like a breath held and released outside. The garden hums with soft sounds, the trickle of the stream, the rustle of cherry blossoms falling, the distant call of a cuckoo. Hidden in the trees, a servant moves through the garden, her sandals brushing against the gravel path. The sound faint and rhythmic, like a heartbeat softened by distance. She carries a tray of lacquered wood, holding a small bowl of rice, a cup of green tea, and a few slices of persimmon, their orange flesh glowing in the morning light. The tea's steam rises, its scent grassy and warm, blending with the fragrance of the garden. She sets the tray beside Sei, her movements quiet, her presence a gentle shadow that fades into the morning dot in the courtyard. An artisan kneels at a low table, polishing a lacquer box with a soft cloth. The box is black, inlaid with mother-of pearl, its surface gleaming like the stream under moonlight. The artisan's hands move slowly, the cloth whispering against the lacquer. The sound soft and repetitive, like the lapping of water. The air around him smells of resin and wood, a warm, grounding scent that lingers in the morning breeze. Nearby, a young girl watches, her hands folded in her lap, learning by observing, her breath slow and even. The artisan hums softly, a tuneless melody that blends with the garden's sounds, the stream, the blossoms, the faint chirp of a sparrow. A koto player sits in a shaded pavilion, her fingers plucking the strings of her instrument, the notes rising like ripples on a pond. The koto's sound is delicate, each note lingering in the air, weaving through the rustle of leaves and the trickle of water. The melody is simple, looping gently, its rhythm calming, like the sway of a branch in the wind. The player, a woman, with hair pinned with a jade comb, moves with grace, her fingers gliding over the strings, her face serene. A few courtiers pause to listen, their silk robes rustling as they sit on the pavilion's edge, their eyes half closed, lulled by the music. The air feels light, fragrant with blossoms and incense, as if the garden itself is singing along. In the palace nearby, scribes work quietly, their brushes scratching faintly on paper, recording poems, letters, or accounts of the day. The room is open to the garden, its screen slid back, letting the breeze carry the scent of flowers inside. The scribes sit on cushions, their robes pooling around them, their movements slow and precise. The ink smells sharp, its blackness dark against the pale paper, each character a small act of creation. A young boy, learning to write, sits nearby, his brush trembling slightly as he copies a simple poem. His teacher nods, her voice soft, encouraging, blending with the hum of the garden outside. The room feels calm, a cocoon of quiet focus, where time moves gently, like the stream beyond the screens. The garden is the heart of the estate, its paths winding through beds of irises and peonies, their petals soft and vibrant, glowing in the sunlight. A gardener moves slowly, his hands pruning a small tree, its leaves falling like green rain. The snip of his shears is faint, rhythmic, blending with the gurgle of the stream and the rustle of blossoms. The air smells of earth and flowers, a sweet, grounding scent that wraps around the estate. A child runs through the garden, her laughter soft and fleeting, chasing a butterfly that flutters just out of reach. Her sandals crunch on the gravel, the sound fading into the morning's gentle hum as noon approaches. The sun warms the garden, casting dappled shadows through the cherry trees. The courtiers pause, gathering in the shade of a veranda, sharing a meal of rice, pickled plums, and tea. The rice is soft, steaming faintly, its scent mingling with the tartness of the plums and the grassy warmth of the tea. They eat slowly, their chopsticks clicking softly, their voices low, talking of poetry, the weather, the beauty of the blossoms. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of sandalwood and the faint dust of the gravel paths. The koto player continues, her music a soft thread weaving through the meal, calming the mind, soothing the heart. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Sei writes another poem, her brush moving steadily, the ink flowing like a quiet stream. The artisan polishes another lacquer box, his cloth whispering against the surface. The gardener tends another tree, his shears snipping softly, the leaves falling gently. The scribes copy another scroll, their brushes scratching faintly, the paper rustling under their hands. The estate moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the trickle of the stream, the rustle of silk, the hum of voices, the notes of the koto. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then pink, then a deep, soft purple. The courtiers gather again, this time on the veranda, their lamps glowing softly, casting a warm light across their faces. They share stories, not of wars or politics, but of small moments of blossom falling. A poem shared, a child's laughter in the garden. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning oil and sandalwood. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The stream flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars. Of the night falls, and Kyoto grows quiet. The estate is still, save for the soft rustle of screens and the distant notes of the koto fading into silence. The air is cool, filled with the scent of blossoms and incense. The courtiers retire, their silk robes rustling faintly, their lamps glowing through paper screens. The city sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new poems, new gardens, and so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A ritual by the Ganges dart, now let's drift. From the serene gardens of Heian, Japan, where cherry blossoms fall softly under a quiet sky, to the sunlit banks of the Ganges, where the air hums with gentle chants, and rituals unfold under a golden dawn. It's early morning in ancient India, in a small village near the holy river, where the air carries the scent of sandalwood, blooming lotuses, and the faint warmth of burning oil lamps. The Ganges flows steadily, its waters shimmering like liquid gold, whispering a soft rhythm that weaves through the village. This is a moment of quiet devotion, a simple ritual to honor the river, the sun, and the ties that bind the people to the land. Close your eyes. Let the warmth of the morning wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every gesture calm and deliberate. Picture the riverbank, a wide sandy stretch where the Ganges meets the village, its waters lapping gently against the shore. The sand is cool underfoot, dusted with fine silt, sparkling in the first light of day. Lotuses bloom along the water's edge, their pink petals unfurling slowly, their scent sweet and delicate, like a whisper of spring. The village is small, a cluster of Madan thatch houses, their walls painted with simple patterns of ochre and white, glowing softly in the sunlight. Smoke rises in thin curls from small clay lamps, their flames flickering gently, carrying the warm, woody scent of sesame oil. The air is alive with soft sounds, the ripple of the river, the distant call of a peacock, the faint rustle of palm leaves swaying in the breeze. A woman named Devi steps toward the river, her cotton sari draped loosely, its pale yellow folds catching the light like the petals of a marigold. She carries a small brass tray, its surface polished to a soft shine, holding offerings for the river: a handful of rice, a marigold flower, a tiny clay lamp with a glowing wick. Her bare feet sink into the sand, the grains cool and smooth, leaving faint prints that the river will soon wash away. She moves slowly, her breath steady, her eyes fixed on the water, where the sun's reflection dances like a golden flame. Other villagers join her, men and women, young and old, their voices low, their steps soft, forming a loose gathering along the bank. The air feels calm, heavy with the scent of flowers and oil, as if the river itself is breathing alongside them. The ritual is simple, a quiet offering to the Ganges, a river seen as a mother, a giver of life. Devi kneels at the water's edge, her sari brushing the sand, and places her tray on the ground. She lights the clay lamp, its small flame flickering in the breeze, casting a warm glow on her hands. The scent of sesame oil rises, warm and grounding, blending with the sweet fragrance of the marigold. She scatters a handful of rice into the water, the grains falling like soft rain, sinking gently into the current. The river accepts them, its ripples spreading outward, a quiet acknowledgement of her gift. She murmurs a chant, her voice soft and melodic, blending with the hum of the other villagers, their words rising and falling like the waves. The chant is simple, repetitive, a gentle rhythm that lulls the mind, like a lullaby sung by the river itself. Nearby, a man named Arjun, a farmer, adds his offering, a small leaf boat woven from palm fronds, holding a single lotus flower. He sets it in the water, his hands steady, the boat bobbing gently as the current carries it away. The lotus glows against the green leaf, its petals soft and delicate, drifting slowly downstream. The villagers watch, their faces calm, their breath slow, as the offerings float away, a quiet gift to the river's endless flow. A child, standing close to her mother, clutches a marigold, her small fingers hesitant before she tosses it into the water, her laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples it creates. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of flowers and smoke, as if the ritual is a thread tying the village to the river, to the sky, to the earth. A woman named Priya, the village's storyteller, begins to speak, her voice low and soothing, like the rustle of leaves in the wind. She tells a tale of the Ganges, not of gods or battles, but of a fisherman who found peace by the river, his nets full, his heart light under the stars. The story is familiar, told at every gathering, its words worn smooth like the river's stones. The villagers listen, their eyes half closed, their hands folded, lulled by the rhythm of her voice. The chant continues, soft and steady, weaving through the story, blending with the river's hum and the faint jingle of a brass bell rung by an elder. The bell's sound is clear, delicate, lingering in the air like a sigh, calming the mind, soothing the heart. In the village, other tasks unfold, quiet and unhurried. A potter sits under a banyan tree, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across his work. He shapes a clay lamp, his hands pressing the soft, cool clay, its surface yielding under his fingers. The wheel spins slowly, its creak, faint and rhythmic, blending with the river's flow. The clay smells of earth and water, a grounding scent that fills the air. Nearby, a woman weaves a basket from dried palm leaves, her fingers looping and pulling, the leaves rustling softly, like the whisper of the wind. The basket grows slowly, its shape simple but sturdy, a quiet act of creation under the morning sun. Children play along the bank, their laughter soft, their bare feet splashing in the shallows. They gather smooth stones, their surfaces cool and slick, stacking them into small towers that the river will claim by nightfall. Their voices are a gentle hum, blending with the chant, the bell, the river's endless song. A young girl braids marigolds into her hair, the flowers scent sweet and warm, her fingers moving slowly, as if savoring each petal. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the morning is pausing to breathe with the village. As the sun climbs higher, the riverbank warms, the sand growing soft underfoot, the lotuses glowing in the light. The villagers pause, gathering in the shade of the banyan tree, sharing a simple meal of rice and lentils. The rice is soft, steaming faintly, its scent mingling with the earthy warmth of lentils cooked with cumin. They eat slowly, their hands scooping food from banana leaves, their voices low, talking of the river, the crops, the hope for rain. The air feels warm but not heavy, carrying the scent of sandalwood and the faint dust of the sandy bank. The chant fades, replaced by the river's hum, the rustle of leaves, the soft laughter of children. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Davy lights another lamp, its flame flickering gently. its smoke curling upward. The potter shapes another clay vessel, his wheel spinning steadily, the clay gleaming under his hands. The weaver finishes her basket, her fingers tying the final knot, the palm leaves rustling softly. The children stack another tower of stones, their laughter fading into giggles as the sun climbs higher. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the ripple of the river, the jingle of the bell, the hum of voices, the rustle of leaves. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then orange, then a deep, soft purple. The villagers gather again, this time by the river, their lamps glowing softly, casting a warm light across their faces. They share stories, not of grand deeds, but of small moments, a fish caught, a flower offered, a child's smile by the water. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of sesame oil and sandalwood. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The Ganges flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars of the night. Night falls, and the village grows quiet. The riverbank is still, save for the soft lapping of waves and the distant call of a night bird. The air is cool, filled with the scent of lotuses and smoke. The villagers retire, their lamps glowing through thatched roofs, their homes warm with the memory of the day. The river continues its song, its waters shimmering, carrying the offerings into the deep. The village sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new rituals, new hopes. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A day in medieval Timbuktu. Now let's drift from the sunlit banks of the Ganges, where the river hums softly with gentle chants, to the bustling markets of Timbuktu, where the air smells of spices and voices hum under the desert sun. It's early morning in Timbuktu, in the heart of the Mali Empire, around the 14th century, where the air carries the scent of dust, roasted grains, and the faint sweetness of dates piled high in woven baskets. The city is a crossroads of trade, its mud brick buildings glowing golden in the dawn, their walls smooth and warm under the touch of the sun. The Niger River flows nearby, its waters glinting softly, whispering a steady rhythm that weaves through the streets. This is a day of quiet activity, where merchants, scholars, and artisans move with purpose, their lives tied to the pulse of the city. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the desert wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every moment calm and grounded. Picture the marketplace, a wide open square, surrounded by mud brick houses, their flat roofs casting soft shadows across the sandy ground. The air is warm, carrying the scent of cumin, saffron, and the earthy Thames of clay pots stacked high at a potter's stall. The ground is a mix of sand and packed earth, still cool from the night, dusted with fine grains that swirl gently in the breeze. Camels stand at the edge of the square, their bells jingling faintly as they shift, their breath warm and steady, blending with the low hum of voices bargaining and laughing. The market is waking, its stalls filling with goods baskets of millet, bolts of woven cloth, small bags of salt that shimmer like snow in the sunlight. The sounds are soft, a gentle symphony, the rustle of cloth, the clink of brass weights, the distant call of a muezzin from a nearby mosque. A woman named Amina moves through the market, her cotton robe dyed a deep indigo, its folds brushing the ground as she walks. She carries a woven basket, its fibers worn smooth, filled with a few coins and a small clay jar for trading. Her sandals crunch softly on the sandy path, the sound faint and rhythmic, blending with the hum of the crowd. She stops at a grain merchant's stall, where sacks of millet and sorghum are piled high, their earthy scent filling the air like a warm memory of harvest. The merchant, a man with a turban wrapped loosely, offers her a handful of grains to inspect, their texture rough and warm in her palm. Amina nods, her voice low, exchanging a few words. Her smile calm as she hands over a coin, its surface cool and smooth. Clinking softly in the merchant's hand, the market is alive, but not loud, its rhythm steady and unhurried. A cloth merchant arranges bolts of cotton, their colors vibrant shreds, blues and ochres shimmering in the sunlight. The cloth rustles softly as he unfolds it, its texture smooth under his fingers, its scent faintly of the dye vats from which it came. A woman pauses, her hands brushing over the fabric, imagining it as a robe for a festival. She haggles gently, her voice soft, her words measured, as if savoring the conversation as much as the trade. The merchant smiles, offering a small length of cloth as a gift, his gesture unhurried, sealed with a nod. The air around the stall feels warm, fragrant with the scent of spices and the faint dust of the desert. As if the market itself is breathing. Nearby, a scribe sits under a canopy of woven palm, his low table covered with sheets of parchment and a small pot of ink. His reed pen scratches faintly, its sound a whisper against the paper, recording a merchant's trade or a scholar's notes. The ink smells sharp, its blackness stark against the pale parchment, each line a small act of creation. A young boy watches, his eyes wide, learning by observing, his breath slow and even. The scribe's hands move steadily, his face calm, as if lost in the rhythm of his work. The air around him is cool, shaded by the canopy, carrying the faint scent of dried palm and ink. Blending with the hum of the market beyond. At the edge of the square, a potter shapes a clay jar, his wheel spinning slowly under his foot, its creak soft and rhythmic, like the heartbeat of the city. The clay is cool, smooth, smelling of the riverbank from which it was dug. His hands guide it gently, forming a wide-mouthed vessel, its sides rising smooth and even. The potter hums, a tuneless melody that blends with the sounds around him, the jingle of camel bells, the murmur of voices, the distant splash of the Niger. A woman nearby weaves a basket from dried palm fronds, her fingers looping and pulling, the leaves rustling softly like the whisper of the wind. The basket grows slowly, its shape simple but sturdy, a quiet act of creation under the morning sun. Children play in the shade of a mud brick wall, their laughter soft and fleeting, chasing a leather ball across the sandy ground. Their bare feet kick up small clouds of dust, the grains catching the sunlight, sparkling like tiny stars. They giggle, their voices blending with the market's hum, the clatter of a cart, the low moo of a cow tethered nearby. A young girl pauses, braiding a strand of palm fiber into her hair, its texture rough but warm, her fingers moving slowly as if savoring each twist. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the morning is pausing to breathe with the city. As noon approaches, the sun climbs higher, warming the square, drying the sand underfoot. The merchants pause, gathering in the shade of a large acacia tree, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across the ground. They share a meal of flatbread and roasted dates, the bread soft and warm, its surface dusted with grains, its scent mingling with the sweet, sticky aroma of dates. They eat slowly, their hands breaking bread, their voices low, talking of trade routes, the river, the hope for rain. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of spices and the faint dust of the desert. A nearby fountain splashes softly, its water drawn from the Niger, adding a gentle rhythm to the meal. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Amina buys a small jar of oil, its clay surface cool in her hands, its contents shimmering golden in the sunlight. The potter shapes another vessel, his wheel spinning steadily, the clay gleaming under his touch. The scribe writes another line, his pen scratching faintly, the parchment rustling under his hands. The weaver finishes her basket, her fingers tying the final knot, the palm fronds rustling softly. The market moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the jingle of coins, the rustle of cloth, the hum of voices, the splash of the fountain. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then orange, then a deep, soft purple. The merchants gather again, this time around a communal fire, its flames low and warm, casting a flickering light across their faces. They share stories, not of empires or conquests, but of ordinary days, a good trade, a sturdy basket, a child's laughter in the market. The fire crackles softly, its smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning acacia wood. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The Niger flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars of the night. Night falls, and Timbuktu grows quiet. The market is still, save for the soft footsteps of a night watchman, his lamp glowing faintly. The air is cool, filled with the scent of river water and spices. The city sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new trades, new hopes. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A Maya ritual in the jungle. Now, let's drift from the bustling markets of Timbuktu, where the desert hums softly with voices and spices, to the lush jungles of Mesoamerica, where the air smells of cacao, and rituals unfold under a starlit sky. Its twilight in a Maya village, deep in the Yucatan, around the 8th century, where the air carries the scent of damp earth, blooming orchids, and the faint smoke of copal resin burning low. The jungle surrounds the village, its trees tall and green, their leaves rustling softly like a whisper from the earth. A small cenote, a sacred pool, reflects the fading light, its waters cool and still, humming with a quiet energy. This is a night of ritual, a simple offering to the stars, the gods, and the land, woven into the rhythm of the village. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the jungle wrap around you, and imagine a moment unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every gesture calm and deliberate. Picture the village, a cluster of thatched houses built from wood and stone, their roofs sloping gently, covered with palm fronds that sway in the evening breeze. The ground is soft, a mix of earth and fallen leaves, still warm from the day's sun. The cenote lies at the heart of the village, its waters dark and deep, surrounded by smooth stones that gleam in the twilight. Smoke rises in thin curls from a small fire, its flames flickering softly, carrying the sweet, resinous scent of copal, a sacred offering that fills the air like a warm breath. The jungle hums with life, the chirp of crickets, the distant call of a howler monkey, the rustle of leaves overhead blending into a gentle symphony. like a lullaby sung by the forest itself. A woman named Exgel steps toward the cenote, her cotton tunic dyed with cochineal, its red folds catching the firelight like a glowing ember. She carries a woven basket, its fibers soft and worn, holding offerings for the ritualer, handful of maize kernels, a small cacao bean, a single orchid flower. Her bare feet sink into the earth, the soil cool and soft, leaving faint prints that the jungle will soon reclaim. She moves slowly, her breath steady, her eyes fixed on the water, where the stars begin to reflect like tiny flames in the dark. Other villagers join her, men and women, young and old, their voices low, their steps soft, forming a loose circle around the cenote. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of copal and orchids, as if the jungle itself is breathing alongside them. The ritual is simple, a quiet offering to the stars and the spirits of the land, a way to give thanks for the harvest, for the rain, for the life the jungle provides. Exgel kneels by the cenote, her tunic brushing the stones, and places her basket on the ground. She lights a small bundle of copal resin, its smoke curling upward, sweet and thick, blending with the damp scent of the jungle. She scatters maize kernels into the water, the grains falling like soft rain, sinking gently into the depths. The cenote accepts them, its ripples spreading outward, a quiet acknowledgement of her gift. She murmurs a chant, her voice soft and melodic, blending with the hum of the other villagers, their words rising and falling like the breeze. The chant is simple, repetitive, a gentle rhythm that lulls the mind, like a song sung by the stars themselves. Nearby, a man named Cain, a farmer, adds his offering, a cacao bean, its surface smooth and dark, glowing faintly in the firelight. He sets it in a small leaf boat, woven from palm fronds, and places it in the water, watching as it floats gently, carried by the cenote's calm current. The villagers watch, their faces calm, their breaths slow, as the offerings drift, a quiet gift to the spirits. A child, standing close to her mother, clutches an orchid flower, her small fingers hesitant before she tosses it into the water, her laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples it creates. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of smoke and flowers, as if the ritual is a thread tying the village to the jungle, to the sky, to the earth. A man named Balaam, the village's storyteller, begins to speak, his voice low and soothing, like the rustle of leaves in the wind. He tells a tale of the stars, not of gods or battles, but of a farmer who followed their light to find water in a dry season, his heart full under the night sky. The story is familiar, told at every gathering, its words worn smooth like the stones by the cenote. The villagers listen, their eyes half closed, their hands folded, lulled by the rhythm of his voice. The chant continues, soft and steady, weaving through the story, blending with the jungle's hum and the faint tinkle of a small clay bell rung by an elder. The bell's sound is clear, delicate, lingering in the air like a sigh, calming the mind, soothing the heart. In the village, other tasks unfold, quiet and unhurried. A weaver sits under a ceiba tree, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across her work. She weaves a cotton cloth, her fingers threading the fibers through a wooden loom. Its creak soft and rhythmic, blending with the cenote's gentle ripple. The cloth smells faintly of the plants used to dye it, a warm, earthy scent that fills the air. Nearby, a potter shapes a clay vessel, his hands pressing the soft, cool clay, its surface yielding under his touch. The clay smells of the jungle floor, grounding and familiar, like the earth after rain. A young boy watches, learning by observing. His breath slow and even, his hands clutching a small lump of clay dot. Children play near the cenote, their laughter soft, their bare feet kicking up leaves as they chase a small ball woven from palm fibers. Their voices are a gentle hum, blending with the chant, the bell, the jungle's endless song. A young girl braids orchids into her hair, the flowers scent sweet and warm, her fingers moving slowly, as if savoring each petal. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the twilight is pausing to breathe with the village. As the stars grow brighter, the jungle cools, the air heavy with the scent of damp earth and copal. The villagers pause, gathering round the fire, sharing a simple meal of maize tortillas and roasted squash. The tortillas are soft, warm from the stone griddle, their scent mingling with the earthy sweetness of squash. They eat slowly, their hands breaking tortillas, their voices low, talking of the harvest, the rain, the beauty of the stars. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of copal and the faint rustle of the jungle. The chant fades, replaced by the senat's ripple, the crackle of the fire, the soft laughter of children. The night unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Exgel lights another bundle of copal, its smoke curling gently, its scent sweet and grounding. The potter shapes another vessel, his hands steady, the clay gleaming under his touch. The weaver finishes her cloth, her fingers tying the final knot, the fibers rustling softly. The children play another game, their laughter fading into giggles as the stars climb higher. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the ripple of the cenote, the crackle of the fire, the hum of voices, the rustle of leaves as the night deepens. The fire burns low, its embers glowing like tiny stars. The villagers gather again, their faces lit by the soft glow, their lamps flickering in the darkness. They share stories, not of grand deeds, but of small moments, a seed sprouting. A flower offered a child's smile by the water. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of copal and oil. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The cenote reflects the stars, its waters dark and shimmering, carrying the offerings into the deep. Night falls, and the village grows quiet. The jungle is still, save for the soft ripple of the cenote and the distant call of a night bird. The air is cool, filled with the scent of orchids and smoke. The villagers retire, their lamps glowing through thatched roofs, their homes warm. With the memory of the ritual, the jungle continues its song, its leaves rustling, its creatures humming in the dark. The village sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new offerings, new hopes. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A quiet day in Han China. Now let's drift from the lush jungles of Mesoamerica, where the cenote hums softly under a starlit sky, to the quiet fields of Han China, where the air smells of rice, and life unfolds under a golden dawn. It's early morning in a small village along the Yellow River, in the 2nd century BCE, where the air carries the scent of damp earth, blooming plum trees, and the faint warmth of burning wood. The fields stretch wide, their green shoots swaying gently in the breeze, reflecting the first light of day. The village is a cluster of mud brick houses with tiled roofs, their eaves curving upward, catching the sun like soft wings. This is a day of simple tasks, where farmers and artisans move with purpose, their lives tied to the rhythm of the land. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the morning wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every moment calm and grounded. Picture the village, nestled between the river and the fields, its houses surrounded by low bamboo fences, their leaves rustling softly in the wind. The ground is packed to earth, still cool with morning dew, dusted with fine grains of soil that cling to bare feet. The yellow river flows nearby, its waters murmuring steadily, glinting like polished bronze in the sunlight. Smoke rises in thin curls from hearths, carrying the scent of burning pine and the warm, nutty aroma of millet porridge simmering over low fires. The air is alive with soft sounds, the creak of a wooden gate, the distant crow of a rooster, the gentle splash of water from a canal irrigating the fields. The village hums with quiet life, like a lullaby sung by the land itself. A woman named May steps out of her house, her cotton robe dyed a soft blue, its hem brushing the ground as she walks. She carries a woven basket, its bamboo fibers worn, smooth, filled with a small sickle and a cloth for gathering rice. Her straw sandals crunch faintly on the earth, the sound rhythmic and soft, blending with the hum of the river. She heads toward the fields, where the rice paddies shimmer with shallow water, their green shoots swaying like a sea under the breeze. The air smells of wet soil and fresh greens, a grounding scent that fills her with calm. She kneels by a row of rice, her hands moving slowly, cutting the stalks with her sickle, their stems soft and cool under her fingers. The motion is steady, deliberate, a quiet dance of hands and earth, lulled by the river's gentle flow. Nearby, a farmer named Liang works in the fields, his hands guiding a wooden plow pulled by a water buffalo. The buffalo moves slowly, its hooves sinking into the soft mud, the plow creaking faintly as it turns the soil. The air smells of earth and water, warm and fertile, like the promise of a good harvest. Liang hums softly, a tuneless melody that blends with the sounds around him, the splash of water in the canal, the rustle of rice stalks, the distant call of a crane flying overhead. His son, a young boy, follows behind, scattering seeds into the furrows, his small hands steady, his breath slow and even. The fields feel alive, but not hurried, as if the morning is pausing to breathe with the village. In the village, other tasks unfold, quiet and unhurried. A potter sits under a willow tree, its branches draping low, casting dappled shadows across his work. He shapes a clay jar, his hands pressing the soft, cool clay, its surface yielding under his touch. The wheel spins slowly, its creak faint and rhythmic, blending with the river's murmur. The clay smells of the riverbank, grounding and familiar, like the earth after rain. Nearby, a woman weaves silk at a wooden loom, her fingers threading the delicate fibers, their sheen catching the sunlight like a soft glow. The loom creaks softly, its rhythm steady, like the heartbeat of the village. The silk smells faintly of the mulberry leaves fed to the silkworms, a warm, earthy scent that lingers in the air. Children play near a small canal, their laughter soft and fleeting, skipping stones across the water, their surfaces glinting in the sunlight. The stones plunk into the canal, their sound a quiet beat that fades into the morning. A young girl braids bamboo fibers into a small mat, her fingers moving slowly, the fibers rustling softly, like the whisper of the wind. Her mother watches, nodding, her hands busy with a basket of millet, sifting the grains gently, their texture warm and smooth under her fingers. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of rice and earth, as if the village is a cocoon of quiet activity. As noon approaches, the sun climbs higher, warming the fields, drying the dew on the grass. The villagers pause, gathering in the shade of a large mulberry tree, sharing a simple meal of millet porridge and pickled vegetables. The porridge is warm, steaming faintly, its scent mingling with the sharp tinge of pickled radish. They eat slowly, their wooden spoons clinking softly against clay bowls. Their voices low, talking of the harvest, the river, the hope for rain. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of pine smoke and the faint sweetness of plum blossoms. The canal splashes softly nearby, its water cool and clear, adding a gentle rhythm to the meal. The afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. May cuts another row of rice, her sickle moving steadily, the stalks falling gently into her basket. Liang guides the plough through another furrow, the buffalo's hooves squishing in the mud, the plough creaking softly. The potter shapes another jar, his wheels spinning steadily, the clay gleaming under his hands. The weaver threads another row of silk, her loom creaking faintly, the fibers shimmering in the sunlight. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the murmur of the river, the rustle of leaves, the hum of voices, the splash of the canal. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then pink, then a deep, soft blue. The villagers gather again, this time around a communal hearth, its flames low and warm, casting a flickering light across their faces. They share stories, not of emperors or battles, but of ordinary days, a good harvest, a sturdy jar, a child's laughter in the fields. The fire crackles softly, its smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning pine. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The yellow river flows on, its waters dark now, reflecting the first stars of the night. Night falls, and the village grows quiet. The fields are still, save for the soft rustle of rice stalks and the distant call of a night bird. The air is cool, filled with the scent of earth and blossoms. The villagers retire, their lamps glowing through paper windows, their homes warm with the memory of the day. The river continues its song, its waters shimmering, carrying the dreams of the village into the deep. The village sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new harvests, new hopes. And so, the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A Polynesian ritual by the ocean now. Let's drift from the quiet fields of Han China, where the river hums softly under a golden dawn, to the turquoise shores of Polynesia, where the ocean whispers and rituals unfold under a starlit sky. It's twilight in a small island village, somewhere in the vast Pacific, around the 10th century, where the air carries the scent of salt, blooming hibiscus, and the faint smoke of a fire burning low. The ocean stretches wide, its waves lapping gently against a coral shore, their rhythm steady, like a heartbeat carried on the breeze. This is a night of ritual, a simple gathering to honor the sea, the stars, and the ancestors who guide the village. Close your eyes, let the warmth of the island wrap around you, and imagine a moment unfolding gently where every sound feels soothing, every gesture calm and deliberate. Picture the village, a cluster of thatched huts built from palm wood and woven fronds, their roofs sloping gently, swaying softly in the evening wind. The shore is lined with smooth coral and sand, still warm from the day's sun, glinting faintly under the twilight. Coconut palms tower overhead, their leaves rustling softly, like a whispered lullaby from the island itself. A small fire burns. Near the water, its flames flickering low, casting a warm glow across the sand, carrying the scent of burning driftwood and dried coconut husks. The air is alive with soft sounds, the lap of waves, the distant call of a seabird, the gentle creak of a canoe tethered to a palm. The village hums with quiet life, like a song sung by the ocean. A woman named Leilani steps toward the shore, her woven mat skirt rustling faintly, its fibers dyed with the red of hibiscus flowers. She carries a basket woven from pandanus leaves, its surface smooth and cool, holding offerings for the ritual, a handful of taro, a small shell, a garland of frangipani flowers. Her bare feet sink into the sand, the grains soft and warm, leaving faint prints that the tide will soon wash away. She moves slowly, her breath steady, her eyes fixed on the ocean, where the stars begin to reflect like tiny fires in the dark. Other villagers join her, men and women, young and old, their voices low, their steps soft, forming a loose circle around the fire. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of salt and flowers, as if the ocean itself is breathing alongside them. The ritual is simple, a quiet offering to the sea and the ancestors, a way to give thanks for the fish, the crops, and the voyagers that connect the islands. Leilani kneels by the water's edge, her skirt brushing the sand, and places her basket on the ground. She lights a small bundle of dried coconut husks, their smoke curling upward, sweet and earthy, blending with the salty Thames of the sea. She places a taro root into the water, its surface smooth and heavy, sinking gently into the shallows. The ocean accepts it, its ripples spreading outward, a quiet acknowledgement of her gift. She murmurs a chant, her voice soft and melodic, blending with the hum of the other villagers, their words rising and falling like the waves. The chant is simple, repetitive, a gentle rhythm that lulls the mind, like a lullaby sung by the sea itself. Nearby, a man named Koa, a fisherman, adds his polished shell, its surface gleaming like the moon, glowing faintly in the firelight. He sets it in a small leaf boat, woven from palm fronds, and places it in the water, watching as it floats gently, carried by the tide. The villagers watch, their faces calm, their breath slow, as the offerings drift, a quiet gift to the spirits. A child, standing close to her mother, clutches a frangipani flower, her small fingers hesitant before she tosses it into the water. Her laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples it creates. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of smoke and flowers, as if the ritual is a thread tying the village to the ocean, to the stars, to the ancestors. A woman named Malia, the village's storyteller, begins to speak, her voice low and soothing, like the rustle of palm leaves in the wind. She tells a tale of the sea, not of voyagers or storms, but of a fisherman who followed the stars to find a new island, his heart full under their light. The story is familiar, told at every gathering, its words worn smooth like the coral on the shore. The villagers listen, their eyes half closed, their hands folded, lulled by the rhythm of her voice. The chant continues, soft and steady, weaving through the story, blending with the ocean's hum and the faint jingle of a shell rattle shaken by an elder. The rattle's sound is clear, delicate, lingering in the air like a sigh, calming the mind, soothing the heart. In the village, other tasks unfold, quiet and unhurried. A weaver sits under a breadfruit tree, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across her work. She weaves a mat from pandanus leaves, her fingers looping and pulling, the leaves rustling softly like the whisper of the wind. The mat smells faintly of the sea, a warm earthy scent that fills the air. Nearby, a carver shapes a wooden paddle, his knife scraping gently against the wood, its surface smooth and warm under his hands. The wood smells of the forest, grounding and familiar, like the island itself. A young boy watches, learning by observing, his breath slow and even, his hands clutching a small piece of coral. Children play near the shore, their laughter soft, their bare feet kicking up sand as they chase a small ball woven from palm fibers. Their voices are a gentle hum, blending with the chant, the rattle, the ocean's endless song. A young girl braids frangipani flowers into her hair, the flowers' scent sweet and warm, her fingers moving slowly, as if savoring each petal. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the twilight is pausing to breathe with the village. As the stars grow brighter, the shore cools, the sand soft underfoot, the hibiscus glowing in the firelight. The villagers pause, gathering around the fire, sharing a simple meal of taro and roasted fish. The taro is soft, steaming faintly, its scent mingling with the salty tang of fish cooked over the flames. They eat slowly, their hands breaking taro, their voices low, talking of the ocean, the crops, the hope for calm seas. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of frangipani and the faint smoke of the fire. The chant fades, replaced by the ocean's hum, the crackle of the fire, the soft laughter of children. The night unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Lalani lights another bundle of coconut husks, its smoke curling gently, its scent sweet and grounding. The carver shapes another paddle, his knife scraping steadily, the wood gleaming under his hands. The weaver finishes her mat, her fingers tying the final knot, the leaves rustling softly. The children play another game, their laughter fading into giggles as the stars climb higher. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the lap of the waves, the crackle of the fire, the hum of voices, the rustle of palms. As the night deepens, the fire burns low, its embers glowing like tiny stars. The villagers gather again, their faces lit by the soft glow, their lamps flickering in the darkness. They share stories, not of great voyages, but of small moments of fish caught. A flower offered, a child's smile by the water. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of coconut and oil. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The ocean continues its song, its waves dark and shimmering, carrying the offerings. Into the deep, night falls, and the village grows quiet. The shore is still, save for the soft lapping of waves and the distant call of a night bird. The air is cool, filled with the scent of hibiscus and smoke. The villagers retire, their lamps glowing through thatched roofs, their homes warm with the memory of the ritual. The ocean hums, its waves shimmering, carrying the dreams of the village into the vast Pacific. The village sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new offerings, new hopes. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A gentle day in ancient Greece. Now let's drift from the turquoise shores of Polynesia where the ocean whispers softly under a starlit sky, to the sunlit hills of ancient Greece, where the air smells of olives, and life hums under a golden dawn. It's early morning in a small town near Athens, around the 5th century BCE, where the air carries the scent of olive oil, blooming thyme, and the faint warmth of baking bread. The hills roll gently, dotted with olive trees, their silver-green leaves rustling in the breeze, catching the first light of day. The town is a cluster of whitewashed stone houses, their flat roofs glowing in the sun, their walls cool to the touch. This is a day of simple routines, where farmers, potters, and poets move with quiet purpose, their lives woven into the rhythm of the land. Close your eyes. Let the warmth of the Greek sun wrap around you, and imagine a day unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every moment calm and grounded. Picture the agora, the heart of the town, a wide, open square paved with smooth stones, still cool with morning dew. The air is fresh, carrying the scent of wild herbs and the warm, yeasty aroma of bread baking in clay ovens nearby. Olive trees line the edges of the square, their branches swaying softly, casting dappled shadows across the ground. A small fountain bubbles at the center, its water splashing gently, reflecting the sunlight like a handful of scattered coins. The agora is waking slowly, its stalls filling with goods jars of olive oil, baskets of figs, bolts of woven wool. The sounds are soft, a gentle symphony, the clink of clay pots, the murmur of voices, the distant bleat of goats grazing on the hills. The town hums with quiet life, like a lullaby sung by the morning itself. A woman named Chloe steps into the agora, her linen chiton draped loosely, its white folds catching the light like the petals of a flower. She carries a woven basket, its fibers worn smooth, holding a few bronze coins and a small clay jug for trading. Her sandals slap softly against the stones, the sound faint and rhythmic, blending with the hum of the crowd. She stops at a baker's stall, where loaves of bread are stacked high, their crusts golden and crackling, still warm from the oven. The baker, a man with flour-dusted hands, offers her a small loaf, its surface dusted with barley grains, its scent filling the air like a warm embrace. Chloe nods, her voice low, exchanging a few words, her smile calm as she hands over a coin, its edges smooth and cool, clinking softly in the baker's hand. The agora is alive, but not loud, its rhythm steady and unhurried. A potter arranges his wares, his hands moving slowly as he sets out clay amphorae, their surfaces gleaming in the sunlight, their shapes smooth and curved. The clay smells faintly of the earth, a grounding scent that lingers in the air. A woman pauses, her fingers brushing over an amphora, imagining it filled with oil or wine. She haggles gently, her voice soft, her words measured, as if savoring the conversation as much as the trade. The potter smiles, offering a small clay cup as a gift, his gesture unhurried, sealed with a nod. The air around the stall feels warm, fragrant with the scent of olives and the faint dust of the stones, as if the agora itself is breathing. Nearby, a weaver sits under an olive tree, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across her work. She weaves a woolen cloth, her fingers threading the fibers through a wooden loom. Its creak soft and rhythmic, blending with the fountain's gentle splash. The wool is soft, dyed a deep purple with murex, its scent earthy and warm, like the hills after rain. A young girl watches, her hands folded in her lap, learning by observing, her breath slow and even. The weaver hums softly, a tuneless melody that blends with the sounds around her, the rustle of leaves, the murmur of voices, the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer shaping bronze dot in a quiet corner of the town. A poet named Damon sits on a stone bench, his wax tablet resting on his knees, his stylus scratching faintly as he writes. The tablet is smooth, its surface cool under his fingers, the wax yielding softly to his touch. He writes of the hills, the sea, the simple beauty of a morning in spring, his words flowing like the fountain nearby. The air smells of thyme and dust, a fresh, grounding scent that fills his senses. A young boy sits nearby, listening, his eyes wide, learning by hearing, his breath slow and even. The poet's voice is low, his words measured, blending with the hum of the town, like a thread woven into a tapestry. Children play near the fountain, their laughter soft and fleeting, chasing a leather ball across the stones. Their sandals slap against the pavement, the sound fading into the morning's gentle hum. A young girl braids wildflowers into her hair, their petals soft and fragrant, her fingers moving slowly, as if savoring each bloom. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the morning is pausing to breathe with the town. A farmer leads a small herd of goats through the agora, their bells jingling faintly, their hooves clicking softly on the stones. The goats bleat, their voices a quiet chorus, blending with the fountain splash and the murmur of voices as noon approaches. The sun climbs higher, warming the stones, drying the dew in the air. The townsfolk pause, gathering in the shade of a large olive tree, sharing a simple meal of bread, olives, and cheese. The bread is dense, its crust crackling as it's torn apart, its scent mingling with the salty tang of olives and the rich, creamy aroma of cheese. They eat slowly, their hands breaking bread, their voices low, talking of the harvest, the sea, the hope for a good season. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of olive oil and the faint dust of the agora. The fountain continues its gentle splash, its rhythm calming. Like a heartbeat tying the meal together, the afternoon unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Chloe buys a small jug of oil, its clay surface cool in her hands, its contents shimmering golden in the sunlight. The potter shapes another amphora, his wheel spinning steadily, the clay gleaming under his hands. The weaver threads another row of wool, her loom creaking faintly, the fibers soft and warm under her fingers. The poet writes another line, his stylus scratching softly, the wax yielding under his touch. The town moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the splash of the fountain, the rustle of leaves, the hum of voices, the bleat of goats. As the sun begins to set, the sky turns gold, then pink, then a deep, soft purple. The townsfolk gather again, this time in a small courtyard, their lamps glowing softly, casting a warm light across their faces. They share stories, not of wars or heroes, but of ordinary days, a good bargain, a sturdy pot, a child's laughter. In the agora, the lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of burning oil and thyme. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The hills grow quiet, their olive trees dark against the sky, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze. Night falls, and the town grows still. The agora is empty, save for the soft splash of the fountain and the distant hoot of an owl. The air is cool, filled with the scent of olives and earth. The townsfolk retire, their lamps glowing through shuttered windows, their homes warm with the memory of the day. The hills continue their quiet song, their trees swaying, their creatures humming in the dark. The town sleeps, its people dreaming of new days, new harvests, new hopes. And so the evening settles, calm and still, under a sky full of stars, where the world feels soft and endless. A ritual by the Nile. Now let's drift from the sunlit hills of ancient Greece, where the air hums with olives and thyme, to the golden sands of ancient Egypt, where the Nile flows softly, and rituals unfold under a starlit sky. It's twilight in a small village along the Nile, around 1500 BCE, where the air carries the scent of lotus flowers, burning myrrh, and the faint dampness of the river's breath. The Nile stretches wide, its waters shimmering like polished obsidian, whispering a steady rhythm that weaves through the village. This is a night of ritual, a simple offering to the river, the stars, and the land that nurtures the people. Close, your eyes let the warmth of the desert night wrap around you, and imagine a moment unfolding gently, where every sound feels soothing, every gesture calm and eternal. Picture the riverbank, a smooth stretch of sand and silt, still warm from the day's sun, glinting faintly under the twilight. Papyrus reeds grow tall along the water's edge, their stalks swaying softly, rustling like a whispered lullaby. The village is a cluster of mud brick houses, their walls painted white, glowing softly in the starlight. Smoke rises in thin curls from small clay lamps, their flames flickering gently, carrying the sweet, resinous scent of myrrh, a sacred offering that fills the air like a warm embrace. The Nile hums with life, the gentle lap of waves, the distant croak of a frog, the faint rustle of palm fronds overhead blending into a gentle symphony, like a song sung by the river itself. A woman named Nefert steps toward the river, her linen dress draped loosely, its white folds catching the starlight like a glowing veil. She carries a woven basket, its palm fibers worn smooth, holding offerings for the ritualer, handful of barley grains, a lotus flower, a small clay lamp with a glowing wick. Her bare feet sink into the sand, the grains soft and warm, leaving faint prints that the Nile will soon wash away. She moves slowly, her breath steady, her eyes fixed on the water, where the stars reflect like tiny flames in the dark. Other villagers join her, men and women, young and old, their voices low, their steps soft, forming a loose circle along the bank. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of myrrh and lotus, as if the river itself is breathing alongside them. The ritual is simple, a quiet offering to the Nile, a giver of life, a way to give thanks for the harvest, the floods, and the blessings of the land. Nefert kneels by the water's edge, her dress brushing the sand, and places her basket on the ground. She lights the clay lamp, its small flame flickering in the breeze, casting a warm glow on her hands. The scent of myrrh rises, sweet and grounding, blending with the delicate fragrance of the lotus. She scatters barley grains into the water, the grains falling like soft rain, sinking gently into the current. The Nile accepts them, its ripples spreading outward, a quiet acknowledgement of her gift. She murmurs a chant, her voice soft and melodic, blending with the hum of the other villagers, their words rising and falling like the river's flow. The chant is simple, repetitive, a gentle rhythm that lulls the mind, like a lullaby sung by the stars themselves. Nearby, a man named Khepri, a farmer, adds his offering, a lotus flower, its petals soft and pale, glowing faintly in the firelight. He sets it in a small reed boat, woven from papyrus, and places it in the water, watching as it floats gently, carried by the Nile's calm current. The villagers watch, their faces calm, their breath slow, as the offerings drift, a quiet gift, to the river's spirits. A child, standing close to her mother, clutches a small shell, her fingers hesitant before she tosses it into the water. Her laughter soft and fleeting, like the ripples it creates. The air feels warm, heavy with the scent of smoke and flowers, as if the ritual is a thread tying the village to the Nile, to the sky, to the earth. A woman named Maret, the village's storyteller, begins to speak, her voice low and soothing, like the rustle of reeds in the wind. She tells a tale of the Nile, not of gods or kings, but of a farmer who followed its flow to find fertile land, his heart full under the starlight. The story is familiar, told at every gathering, its words, worn smooth like the river's stones. The villagers listen, their eyes half closed, their hands folded, lulled by the rhythm of her voice. The chant continues, soft and steady, weaving through the story, blending with the river's hum and the faint jingle of a bronze bell rung by an elder. The bell's sound is clear, delicate, lingering in the air like a sigh, calming the mind, soothing the heart in the village. Other tasks unfold, quiet and unhurried. A potter sits under a date palm, its branches sprawling wide, casting dappled shadows across his work. He shapes a clay jar, his hands pressing the soft, cool clay, its surface yielding under his touch. The wheel spins slowly, its creak faint and rhythmic, blending with the Nile's gentle flow. The clay smells of the riverbank, grounding and familiar, like the earth after a flood. Nearby, a weaver works with flax, her fingers threading the fibers through a wooden loom. Its creak soft and steady, like the heartbeat of the village. The flax smells faintly of the fields, a warm, earthy scent that lingers in the air. Children play near the riverbank, their laughter soft, their bare feet splashing in the shallows. They gather smooth pebbles, their surfaces cool and slick, stacking them into small towers that the Nile will claim by dawn. Their voices are a gentle hum, blending with the chant, the bell, the river's endless song. A young girl braids lotus petals into her hair, the flower scent sweet and warm, her fingers moving slowly, as if savoring each petal. The air feels alive, but not hurried, as if the twilight is pausing to breathe with the village. As the stars grow brighter, the riverbank cools, the sand soft underfoot, the papyrus reeds glowing in the firelight. The villagers pause, gathering around the fire, sharing a simple meal of barley bread and dried fish. The bread is dense, warm from the stone oven, its scent mingling with the salty temps of fish. They eat slowly, their hands breaking bread, their voices low, talking of the river, the crops, the hope for a good flood. The air feels warm, but not heavy, carrying the scent of myrrh and the faint dust of the sand. The chant fades, replaced by the Nile's ripple, the crackle of the fire, the soft laughter of children. The night unfolds slowly, with tasks that feel familiar, comforting in their repetition. Nepherd lights another lamp, its flame flickering gently, its smoke curling upward. The potter shapes another jar, his wheels spinning steadily, the clay gleaming under his hands. The weaver threads another row of flax, her loom creaking faintly, the fibers soft and warm under her fingers. The children play another game, their laughter fading into giggles as the stars climb higher. The village moves in a quiet rhythm, each sound blending into a gentle symphony, the lap of the Nile, the crackle of the fire, the hum of voices, the rustle of reeds. As the night deepens, the fire burns low, its embers glowing like tiny stars. The villagers gather one last time, their faces lit by the soft glow, their lamps flickering in the darkness. They share stories, not of pharaohs or temples, but of small moments of seed sprouting, a flower offered, a child's smile by the water. The lamps flicker, their smoke curling upward, carrying the scent of myrrh and oil. A child falls asleep, curled in her mother's lap, her breath slow and even. The Nile flows on, its waters dark and shimmering, carrying the offerings into the deep, under a sky full of stars. And so the night settles over the sands of Egypt, the Nile whispering softly, its gentle ripples blending with the rustle of reeds, the fading crackle of the fire, the distant call of a night bird. The village sleeps, its houses glowing faintly with lamplight, its people dreaming of rivers, stars, and the quiet joys of the day. The air grows cooler, filled with the scent of lotus and earth, wrapping the world in a soft embrace. The stars shine brighter, their light steady, eternal, guiding the dreams of those who rest. And as the world drifts into silence, the night hums softly, carrying you gently into a deep, peaceful sleep where time feels endless and the heart is calm.